honest pricing up front and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Friday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you to close out the week here on a Friday that has us heading in to a pretty big sports weekend, right? We got Gator football tomorrow. We got Gator basketball tomorrow. We got a gold medal hockey game between the United States and Canada on Sunday. The U.S. looking for their first men's hockey gold medal in the Olympics since the Miracle on Ice back in 1980. And all they have to do is knock off their brethren to the north in Canada. And what a scene that should be over there at the Winter Olympics. The final day of the Winter Olympics on Sunday, 8 a.m., on the East Coast is the start of that game Sunday morning. Of course, that will be Sunday afternoon over there in Italy. And they got to get all the events in before the closing ceremony of said Winter Olympics, which will take place on Sunday evening. So we will talk Gator basketball. We will talk about the United States and Canada in men's hockey for the gold medal. We will also spend some time on the National Basketball Association, talk a little Orlando Magic. Boy, they set a franchise record last night. They hit 27 three-point shots in a game. They've been playing basketball in Orlando since 1989. They've never had a game where they hit 27 three-pointers until last night in their win over Sacramento. And, of course, we will talk a lot about the National Football League and the Jacksonville Jaguars. NFL Scouting Combine next week up in Indianapolis. We are basically 2 weeks away, 2 weeks from Monday, away from NFL free agency. So there is a lot for the Jaguars to figure out in a relatively short amount of time between the Combine and free agency, both coming up in the next 2.5 weeks. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Coming up in about 15 minutes, my buddy J.P. Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. He actually was back at it this week on Jaguars Radio. They had their first off-season show here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Also, JP will be up at the Scouting Combine in Indianapolis next week. So we'll talk the Jaguar offseason, free agency, and everything along those lines with JP Shadrick. That comes up in about 15 minutes or so. Also, Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. He will also be in Indianapolis next week for the Scouting Combine, and we'll talk about this 2026 NFL draft class. Again, the Jaguars do not have a first-round pick, but what they do have are 4 picks on day number 2. Of course, 1 second-rounder and 3 third-round selections. They will be picking 4 times in the top 100 picks of this National Football League draft. So we're glad you're with us on a Friday to close out the week here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Aaron Williams, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, I took a poll on my social media, 1010XL, or Ryan Green 1010XL on Twitter /X. that I want to get to in a moment that revolved around the Jacksonville Jaguars. But quickly, all week we've been going position by position, kind of an off-season outlook. We started earlier in the week with quarterbacks and running backs. We've run all the way through now to the end tonight to the linebackers and the secondary. And when you look at an off-season outlook for the linebackers and the secondary, it's going to be a busy off-season for the linebacking room and the secondary room. Obviously, the uncertain future of Devin Lloyd at Jaguar linebacker, I don't know how uncertain it actually is. The more you talk to people, the more information you gather and just forming your own opinion, quite frankly. Boy, I got to tell you, at this point, 2 weeks out, just 2 weeks and change out from free agency, I think at this point, it would be pretty surprising if Devin Lloyd were back here in 2026. Not because the Jaguars don't want him back. I'm sure they do. But with their salary cap situation, other things they have to do on the roster, and the money that Devin Lloyd could command on the open market, it just is probably not going to happen. So if you lose Devin Lloyd, then all of a sudden you got issues at linebacker that you need to address. Now the question is, Foye Oluokun, most likely to be here in 2026, is the answer to replacing Devin Lloyd already on the roster with either a Ventrell Miller or a Jack Kaiser? Or do you replace Devin Lloyd in free agency by bringing in somebody that's obviously not as expensive? Or do you perhaps use one of your day 2 picks, maybe that second rounder or one of those third rounders, on a rookie linebacker? And apparently the linebacking class this year is pretty good in the 2026 NFL draft. Look, no matter what happens at linebacker, there's no mistaking the fact that if they lose Devin Lloyd, that's going to be a significant blow to this team and this defense. The one thing I would direct you to, though, along those lines is this. Remember July and August of last year going into training camp? Who thought Devin Lloyd was going to be a starting linebacker on this team in August? It was all about Ventrell Miller, right? The new staff had come in. Devin Lloyd didn't have his 5th-year option picked up. He had been underachieving the first couple of years, or at least the last couple of years, particularly last year. We had almost kicked Devin Lloyd to the curb. We thought it was Ventrell Miller's job or somebody else's job. And then Anthony Campanile comes in and turns Devin Lloyd into just a ferocious monster. Question is, can Anthony Campanile do that again? With a Ventrell Miller, with a Jack Kaiser, or with somebody that's not currently on the Jaguar roster? More on Devin Lloyd in a moment. And then when you quickly look at the secondary, if ETN and Devin Lloyd are the 2 biggest free agents to hit the market 2 weeks from Monday, numbers 3 and 4 for the Jaguars are Monteric Brown and Greg Newsome. And much like Devin Lloyd, I have not talked to one person, and I mean this, 40 days since the Jaguar season came to an end. This is the 30th Hacker After Dark, and an overwhelming majority of those 30 shows that we've done so far this offseason, I've either had a Jaguar guy on, a draft guy on, an NFL person on to do an off-season outlook on the Jaguar roster. I have not found one person in the last 40 days that has told me they believe Greg Newsome is going to be on this team in 2026. Not one. So with that, one would believe that Greg Newsome is probably not going to be here in 2026. I tend to believe that as well. Does that mean it was a bad trade last year for Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome? Not great. Probably not James Gladstone's finest hour, but keep in mind, they knew Newsome was a free agent when they traded for him. And a lot of trading Campbell was to get some of that contract off their books in the future years. So, yeah, not a great trade for Jacksonville, but I don't think it was a horrific situation either. You tried Greg Newsome out. It appears it did not work to their liking, and it appears they're going to move on. With Montaric Brown, it's a little different. Now, look, Montaric Brown's never going to be confused for Deion Sanders. He's not Darrell Green. I think we've built up Montaric Brown a little bit this offseason so far, but I do think the Montaric Brown, when given the opportunity, played pretty well in 2025. Had some nice interceptions, some nice passes, defensed, is a really good quality locker room guy. He's got that Jaguar DNA that you always hear Liam Cohen and James Gladstone and Tony Baselli talk about. I think of the two, Brown and Newsome, clearly Brown is more likely to come back. And I think of the big four, Newsome, Brown, Lloyd, Etienne, of the big four free agents that will hit the market 2 weeks from Monday, I would say Montaric Brown, of those four, again, is the most likely guy to come back. The question is, he's 26 years old. Is he going to find a big money deal on the open market that's going to price him out of the Jaguars' plans? Because, again, the Jaguars do not have a lot of cash. They do not have a lot of cap room the way it stands right now. So they're going to have to be a little more picky, a little more choosy with what they do this offseason as opposed to years past. That brings me to the poll question. I put this on last night, and I just wanted a gauge of Jaguar fans. And I got a pretty solid sample size, 353 people, right? 353. That's a decent sample size of Jaguar fans. And the question was simple. If you could only have one back in a Jaguar uniform in 2026, who are you bringing back? Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, Montaric Brown. 353 people voted. 18% went to Montaric Brown. 32% went to Travis Etienne. And 50% of this poll were votes for Devin Lloyd. I hate to disappoint you, but I think the results of this poll need to be backwards in what reality may show us in the next 2.5 weeks. Lloyd, Etienne, Brown were the results of the poll. I think reality is going to say that guys that will be back in a Jaguar uniform, it would be Brown 1, Etienne 2, Devin Lloyd 3. I'm at the point where I don't think Lloyd's coming back. I do ultimately think Montaric Brown will be back. And I don't know what to think about Travis Etienne. I tend to believe that Etienne has played his final game in a Jaguar uniform. But I would not be shocked if they found a way to bring Etienne back. I would be shocked at this point if Devin Lloyd was back in a Jaguar uniform based on the money he's likely to get in free agency in a couple of weeks. So the Jaguar roster as a whole heading into the offseason, with the assumption, let's just say for argument's sake, that they're going to lose Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne. Let's just say that right now, you lose both. I still think you're awesome at quarterback, obviously, with Trevor. You're very good at wide receiver. I'm fine with the offensive line. Could you upgrade? Perhaps, but if you don't do anything, I'm okay with it. Tight end, your starter's tremendous. Bring back Quentin Morris and maybe see if you can potentially upgrade over Long or Johnny Munt. Defensively, you got to figure out something in the internal D-line at the defensive tackle position. You need to get another edge, too. There's work to do on the D-line. There will be work to do at linebacker if you lose Devin Lloyd. And in the secondary, when you add Travis Hunter, if you bring Montaric Brown back, which I think you will, and team those guys with Jarian Jones, Jordan Lewis, Antonio Johnson, Eric Murray, Rayon Lane, Caleb Ransaw. I think you're pretty good in the secondary. But because your needs are big on the D-line and at linebacker, I think of these 11 picks the Jaguars have in the NFL draft, I think a lot of those picks, a lot of that draft capital is going to go on the defensive side of the ball. Out of the 11, I would say 7 or 8, probably defense. Maybe you draft an offensive lineman. Maybe you draft a running back. Maybe you draft a tight end. After that, I don't really know what else you need on offense. You need D linemen, and you're probably going to need a linebacker or two at least if you lose Devin Lloyd. Let's talk about the NFL draft. Let's talk about the Jaguar offseason with a guy that's in the Miller Electric Center every day, my buddy JP Shadrick. You see him on Jaguars.com. You hear him all over Jaguars radio, and he joins us next on a Friday night here in Northeast Florida. We're with you to close out the week until 10 o'clock. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Oh, good morning. Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Meow.
Doing their best to make every morning good. Or at least a little better.
Oh, now I see what you're saying.
Mornings on 1010XL.
That's good. That's good fun.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller. I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Air and Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Big personalities, bold opinions, lunch just got louder. Josie, Matt, and Leon are XL Prime Time from the big #1 Duval Ford Studios.
Any questions?
Yeah, when's lunch?
Noon to 2 on 1010XL.
Could you imagine? There was a time you could just tell your kids to shut up, right to their face. No explanations, just shut up. How much easier would that have been? Why is the sun hot? I don't know. Why don't you shut up? Well, that was uncalled for.
Tom Papa Live in the Grateful Bread Tour. Saturday, February 21st, on stage at Florida Theater. Tickets are on sale now at floridatheater.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Daytona Supercross. Experience all the high-flying action and side-by-side intensity of Monster Energy AMA Supercross on the most demanding track of the circuit. The gate drops February 28th at the World Center of Racing. The high-flying, crowd-pleasing Daytona Supercross is a great event for the entire family. For a chance to win tickets to Daytona Supercross, answer this. Who designs the Daytona Supercross course? Text the designer's last name to 641-1010 now.
What NFL quarterback connected on TD passes with 98 different players during his career?
For over 20 years, Southern Oak Insurance has given Floridians a better alternative to their current homeowners policy. See what you can get with Southern Oak. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Tom Brady threw 105 touchdown passes to Rob Gronkowski, but there are 97 other players who caught at least one.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Hey,
Jacksonville, DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% and homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, a lot's going on in the Jaguar offseason, and the NFL offseason is really about to get into high gear. We are on the doorstep of the NFL Scouting Combine up in Indianapolis. We are basically 2 weeks away from NFL free agency and the NFL Draft, April 23rd, 24th, and 25th, just over 2 months away in Pittsburgh. Let's talk about the Jaguar offseason, kind of give a blueprint for our expectations with my buddy JP Shadrick. You see him on Jaguars.com. You, of course, hear him all over Jaguars radio, and JP's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. JP, I hope your offseason's going well, man. How are you?
Yeah, doing great, Hacker. Good to be back with you. We had a little bit of time off from Jaguars.com and Jags Radio after the playoff loss, and a little vacation time to get away. The coaches did as well, and now everybody's back in the building. And as you said, we're on the doorstep of off-season business, and here we are. It's back, and it never really ends, but, it feels like they've kind of turned the page to 2026.
And I was going to ask you about that. It was such a gut punch, the wild card weekend loss to Buffalo, particularly, how it ended there with the interception at the very end. I think it took the city and the fan base quite a while to get over that, but you're in that building every day. Is it full steam ahead to 2026 now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they had right after the playoff loss, obviously the first day or two, you're just kind of in a daze. It's just so sudden, the ending. I mean, 2 days later, everybody's cleaning out their locker and gone. And, it's just so final all of a sudden when you have all these high expectations. And then the business happened of the interviews, the coaching interviews for both coordinators. Had multiple interviews for head coaching jobs, which is a good sign. So that meant, I'm sure Liam Cohen had to have some contingency plans working. So I don't know how much time he actually got away, just in case one or both of those coordinators had to leave. But, and then the coaches got away for a while. So that's a good thing. And, this is kind of it doesn't happen like this a lot around here. It hasn't lately that, this is a pretty normal off season. Like it's pretty much status quo. They've hired a couple of coaches on the staff, but everybody else is here. The players don't come back until late April now because the head coach is returning, and then they don't have a first round pick either. So it's kind of a weird, they're working towards some things, free agency and such, but this will be a little bit different feeling off season.
You mentioned Grant Udinski, Anthony Campanile. Both guys reportedly were finalists for jobs. Campanile with Arizona. Udinski appeared that he was in the conversation in both Cleveland and Buffalo, but ultimately both guys will return in 2026. I mean, just put into context how important that is to get both of those guys back.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's status quo, and that was a good thing to see them both grow as the year went along, especially Camp on defense. I mean, remember the bye week, they had to make some adjustments and certainly did that. And after the bye, this Jags defense was fantastic, and he's great in front of the room, and he can connect with players, and he has that different mindset about him, and that's going to run a long way. And he'll get an opportunity again, of course, if they continue to play well. He'll get some more opportunities as it goes. Once you're kind of in that cycle, that's usually just how that works. And Udinski, everybody's looking for the next great young coach, and Udinski kind of fits that bill with the success they had on offense this year and his track record and really just a short time in the NFL. And I think he impressed a lot of people in this cycle. And you know what? Maybe the time wasn't right, but there'll be more times for Udinski as well. He's only 30 years old. So, like, this is not – maybe the Browns weren't the best situation for him either. Think about that with the quarterback situation, everything going on there. But, now he's got the experience of some head coaching interviews, and that will go a long way the next time it comes around.
JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. Liam Cohen made the rounds out of the Super Bowl, and whether it was on Cowherd or it was with Florio or the one that I really enjoyed was McAfee. Man, there's something about Liam in front of those crowds, in front of those, interview-type settings. He's just got the it factor about him. I just get the vibe that, man, he's going to be a star in this league from the head coaching position.
Yeah, and I don't know if the McAfee appearance was actually scheduled. I think he was just kind of walking by, and they said, "Hey, you want to come on?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, come on." So they, obviously they have the relationship from doing that interview in the past before with him. But yeah, he's got that kind of laid back personality. He knows how to tell good stories. He's right in front of a microphone. He'll tell you what he thinks, and that goes a long way. And, hey, guess what? I mean, they were 13-4. The guy's 3 votes away from NFL Coach of the Year. So that's I don't know if that's happened around here before. So yeah, he's fun to deal with. Obviously, we know that firsthand here. Just talking with him every week, it's a highlight of my week every week on Friday to get the pregame interview and just kind of getting in his head a little bit of what to expect in the week ahead. So. Yeah, we're lucky to have him, man. I mean, it was. Think about the last off season, right? Which everything was going on in that coaching search, and the way it all went down. It seems like the distant past now because the right guy's here.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and the work has already begun for James Gladstone as the general manager. And it's interesting, we're at the 1-year anniversary of Gladstone being hired. Remember, he literally had his introductory press conference and then basically got on a plane to go to the Combine last year. It's hard to believe it's only been 1 calendar year since James Gladstone arrived, and we got some free agency stuff to discuss, JP, but certainly the process has already begun. The re-signings of DJ Dallas and Matt Dickerson and also Christian Braswell, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, those are, just core guys you need around on your roster. And when you have the 90, and obviously DJ Dallas came in late in the season. Dickerson had a spell there where he was very valuable for what they were trying to do on defense, and guy who's been around a lot of different teams in the league and finally found a little bit of traction here. And the cornerback position is going to be a spotlight this entire offseason, I think, with Travis Hunter's return, whenever that happens in the offseason program. What's Jordan Lewis doing? How's his health? They're going to have Ransaw, speaking of not corners, but in the safety position, hopefully healthy and back. So there's going to be a different dynamic in the secondary this year. So that's a good thing to see those guys kind of back in the mix and get going again. But yeah, Gladstone's got a lot to figure out here the next few weeks when free agency begins. Who comes back? How much money do they have to spend? Everybody's kind of talking about Etienne and Lloyd, and those are the 2 kind of big guys that I think a lot of fans have interest in. And I don't know if either one of them are back, to be quite honest with you, Hacker. And then if they're not, how do you backfill it moving ahead? And what does the draft look like? It all kind of pieces together the puzzle.
Well, let's begin there. Again, JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. Also, Greg Newsome and Monteric Brown are free agents, which leads me to Travis Hunter. What did you make of a week or so ago, the whole Travis Hunter is going to play primarily defensive back, and that kind of blew up on social media nationally a little bit? I don't think it was really a surprise here. I'm not sure why it caught people off guard elsewhere.
Well, James Gladstone pretty much said that in his press conference 2 days after the loss in the playoff game. That, look at the roster, look at the pending free agents, and you kind of can tell where Travis Hunter might play most of his football next year. He literally said that. So I mean, that's the way it works, right? I mean, a quote happens, they might save it for later, and it comes out a month later, and it's now news again. So I don't think it's a huge change of anything, and I think they still work through, what they could do with Travis. And we saw it last year on offense. Like, he had some trouble lining up. I mean, he had all these illegal shifts, and there's a lot of intricacies to this offense. It just takes time on task to learn. And when you have time on task on the other side of the ball too, it's tough to make that a priority on offense. So, you know, that's the feel for me. Yeah, full-time corner, it's a position they need anyway. And then get him out there for some packages on offense, right? And he's fantastic in space with the ball in his hand. So make that happen, you know, figure out ways to make that happen. I think that's the future.
Couple of more for J.P. Shadrick. Obviously, the 4 big free agents, as we mentioned, Newsom, Brown, Lloyd, and Etienne. More on them in a moment. There are a lot of those core guys that you mentioned as well, whether it's Gardeck or Wingard, Tim Patrick, Dewan Smoot, right? Guys of that sort. Austin Johnson. What's your thought on those guys? I mean, are they going to look to bring most of those core guys back if they can?
I mean, Gardeck was valuable for this team, right? Especially later in the season. He's kind of rushing from the edge at times, and he's fantastic on special teams, has no fear running down the field and putting a lick on a guy, which is great to see. Johnson was one of those rotational defensive linemen that was important for this team last year. I could see both, if the number's right, like bring both of those guys back as just kind of role-playing pieces for this defense and the special teams group. I like those guys a lot. Now you got to look at the age of some of the other guys, right? I mean, remember Dewan Smoot, he's great, fantastic in the locker room, great in the community, but getting up there a little bit, and what was his real impact on the field? I don't know. We'll see moving ahead on that one. Again, it comes down to the numbers on those guys. But, I mean, the priority are the other guys you talked about. I don't know if Newsom's coming back, because that felt like there were moments where he just wasn't performing up to par. And he got here quick. You know, the first plays on the field, they throw at him at the touchdown. He settled in a little bit after that. But, you know, hey, they give a couple picks for him. I don't know if it worked out. You kind of move on. And you've got 2 guys coming back in the secondary like we talked about earlier. And so I just have a feeling that's probably not going to work out.
And it feels like between Newsom and Brown would be the priority for the team. Is that your feeling?
Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest with Monteric. He's not a lockdown number 1 corner, right? But he's a really hardworking, good player that gives you maximum effort and is usually in the right place. And you can play with that. And I think they like his, competitive nature when the ball's in the air and when he's fighting for it, and that's, he flashed, and he has flashed the last couple of years, and he's a fantastic guy in the locker room. So, yeah, I think that one, again, if the number's right, you have him back around, and he's in that mix at corner and certainly on special teams.
Again, free agency basically 2 weeks away. Final moments with J.P. Shadrick of Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. Let's go to Devin Lloyd. I talked to Spot Track, the founder, Michael Giannetti, a couple weeks ago. He told me 19 or 20 million per. And when he told me 19 or 20 million per for Devin Lloyd, I have given very little thought to Devin Lloyd being back here in 2026.
That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money for 1 year of production. Let's be honest. Like, it was a fantastic season. He made impact plays in big moments and primetime games and all these things. And he's a great guy in the locker room again, a guy you want around. But you know what? That's a lot of money. And they feel like, I think, that they can go find somebody or a couple of people to fill those roles. There's a philosophy, too, that you don't pay linebackers on 1 year production. It's got to be a continued growth over time, or, is that sustainable, that 1 year? That's the big question. And I think they'd like to have him around, but I think the finances of that, considering that it's just been 1 big year of production, okay, can he replicate that? Is it worth the risk? And to me, I think the answer is no.
As far as Travis Etienne, JP, that to me seems like the more complicated one because he was so good in Liam Cohen's offense. He's 27, so he's not elderly, but he's certainly not what he was at 24. He probably figures he has 1 big contract left. This is going to be it. I would love the Jaguars to bring him back, but again, are dollars going to make sense on that?
Yeah, I mean, the franchise tag's $14 million for a running back, and I don't see that happening. And then, yeah, he was great in this offense, and he was really good this season and great in the passing game. I think there was a little left to be desired between the tackles with him. That's kind of always been the case with the way he runs. He's great on the outside, right? But can you consistently rely on him between the tackles? I don't know. And that's a question mark too. So if you're going to pay big money, you need somebody that can be that every down back and trust him to do things in the middle of the offense as well. So not to say it's not possible. I mean, let's see what kind of numbers they really talk about once the free agency actually hits and what the market bears. Maybe that changes the dynamic. And, you know, a lot of teams just don't sign big money running backs. You know, they feel like they can go draft another one. Last year they drafted 2, remember? And, you know, they've got so many picks in the 2nd and 3rd round this year that usually is a sweet spot for running backs as well. So let's see. I'm not so sure about that one. I would say I'm a little more, let's say, positive on the chances, at least, of ETN getting a look to come back than I would be Lloyd.
As we wrap up, Bashal Tutin, Ventrell Miller. If Lloyd and ETN leave, would Tutin and Miller get the first look at replacing them?
I mean, let's see what comes in the draft, right? I mean, you know, you just got to see what happens. Who do they sign in free agency? Remember last year's free agency wasn't superstar splashes, but most of those guys had certain roles here. And for a reason, they went and signed those guys in the first tier of free agency that weren't top tier number guys, but they had targeted people that they really wanted for those spots. So I wouldn't say that at all. I think you just kind of reassess after free agency and after the draft, and then you say, okay, let's get out here and play a little bit. I don't think there's a slam dunk person to take those roles right now on this team or otherwise.
Scouting combine on the doorstep, 2 weeks away from free agency. I know you guys at Jaguars.com will be very busy. What can people look forward to?
Well, honestly, we're not. That's part of the weird offseason too, Hacker. Cohen and Gladstone are not attending the combine this year. That's the old LA Rams philosophy. It's the recent LA Rams philosophy. They don't go. And, you know, they believe in watching actual game tape and relying on that for your, you know, look at players instead of looking at the underwear Olympics. Now they'll look at the results and see it, you know, and they can read it on paper. And they'll have scouts there to do some interviews and things. That's fine. But the leadership's not going. Well, that means Jaguars.com officially is not going. I'm going on my own, though, to go kind of be up there and around it anyway for a few days. So I'll have a hit on Jags AM on Tuesday from the media center. And then on Wednesday, we'll do Huddle Up from up there with Bucky Brooks as well. So a little different feel. Like I said, this whole offseason, a little different. Just changes in philosophy and how they cover and how they get ready for the draft. So we have to change with the times as well on Jaguars.com.
Anything different about a Jaguar offseason as of late is probably a good thing. So I welcome the difference. There is absolutely no question about that. Hey, JP, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. Safe travels to Indy, and we'll talk soon, pal.
All right, Hacker. Thanks, man.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and of course, Julington Creek Road.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Window World. Simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Let's talk about the sound no homeowner wants to hear. Drip, drip, drip. Still dripping. That's exactly why Duck Duck Rooter created the Love Your Pipes promotion. Plumbing problems don't scare us. Not with years of experience and honest upfront pricing on our side. Right now, you can get free plumbing assessment on all fixtures with any paid plumbing service. It's the smart move to fix the issue now before it becomes bigger. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, company mascot at your service.
There are two important steps to installing the perfect garage floor. The two-stage coating application, sure, but nothing is more important than preparing the floor. Our team uses diamond grinding machines to grind your floors to a smooth, level finish. Only then can we...
Hold on! You grind garage floors with perfectly lovely diamonds?
No, Chester. We grind floors to perfection using the very best ugly diamonds. Too ugly for jewelry, but perfect for the grinding pads we use to prep the surface.
Perfect preparation and application. Now that's a perfect marriage.
Ugly diamonds?
Check. Perfect preparation?
Check. Smooth, gorgeous, gleaming floors that really catch your eye? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
Learn the secrets to bring your A game on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Yeah, well, you really crushed that ball off the tee, I'll tell you what.
Learn the latest on new equipment from all the major manufacturers on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an I-CAR Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Thank you to JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. We'll get back into the National Football League, talk a little scouting combine, a little NFL draft as well. Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network, who will be up in Indianapolis for the scouting combine. He will join us coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. A couple of things over the weekend that I want to get into. Number one, Gator basketball tomorrow, high noon, as they take on Ole Miss. This is a scary game for me for the Gators. Are they better than Ole Miss? You betcha. And it's not particularly close. But that's why, to me, it's kind of a scary game. Noon Eastern, it's in Oxford, so it's going to be 11 o'clock Central, which it'll probably be a half-empty arena. You know, is Florida going to be lethargic coming out, playing? I mean, Ole Miss is 3-10 in the conference. They're 11-15 overall. Although, to their credit, they gave Texas A&M a pretty good battle on Wednesday. Only lost to the Aggies by, I believe, 3. But if you're Florida and you're 11-2 in the SEC, first place by 2 games, everything's going right. All you got to do is win the games you're supposed to win, and you're going to be locked into a 2 or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. I just don't want them to go out there with the thought that we can walk into this game, sleepwalk our way through, and win, because you can't do that in the SEC. A noon tip kind of scares me. 11 o'clock local time kind of scares me. And the fact that it's going to be, again, probably a half-empty arena in Oxford. The Ole Miss Rebels aren't any good this year. They're 3-10 in the conference. There's a lot of red flags for me for this game. Having said that, Todd Golden is a national championship winning head coach. There's a lot of veteran leaders on this team, like a Thomas Houck, like an Alex Condon, like a Ruben Chinyalu, guys that have been through the battles, certainly. I think they'll find a way to win. I think talent will win out tomorrow. But I think it's probably a game in the second half. I don't think this is a 20 or 30-point blowout. I think because of Florida, again, being lethargic, I guess is the best word for it, and maybe not having their foot on the gas for the entirety of the game, I think Ole Miss, even though they have no business hanging around, probably will hang around. I like Florida to win the game, 8, 10, 12 points, something like that. I don't think Florida has to win in the final minute, but I don't think this is going to be blowout city. I see, 79, 71, that sort of thing. But hey, if that's ultimately what happens, it's a conference road win. You take it, you say thank you, and you move on. And the SEC, by the way, didn't do Florida a whole lot of favors. They got to go out to Oxford tomorrow. Then they'll come home before turning right back around on Tuesday and having to fly out to Texas, to Austin, to play the Longhorns. You hate that they have to go back-to-back SEC, for their standards, West Coast trips, to Oxford, back to Gainesville, 72 hours later out to Austin, back to Gainesville, before they have that huge one a week from tomorrow against John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks. So clearly, Florida basketball tomorrow will be top of mind. You'll obviously hear it on 1010XL, noon tip-off. Sean Kelly on the Gator Radio Network. I believe ESPN is carrying it on the television. And by the way, if you missed it this morning, a brand new Gator Bites podcast dropped. Myself and Patrick Young, the 2014 SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Patrick and I do Gator Bites every Friday. Now from our brand new 1010XL podcast studio. We were kind of the guinea pigs this morning. We were the first podcast that did it from the new podcast studio. And Aaron, I got to say, man, I know you watched it on social media. You can watch it on 1010XL's YouTube, Facebook, the Florida Gator 1010XL Facebook account, as well as our Twitter/X. I think that podcast room that obviously our boss, Steve Griffin, Richie, the multimedia team of Trent and Jacob and Thomas, they did a terrific job with that room. I think it looks really, really good.
Yeah, I have to agree. A lot of painting, manual labor went into that. So I think they did a good job, and they should be proud of the way that it looks. You guys look good on the stream earlier.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, not only the painting, but the lighting and the computer setup and everything, the microphone setup. It is a cool deal. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out in the near future. Gator Bites will be in there every week. All things Gators, you name it, the podcast. It'll be from our brand new 1010XL podcast studio. So Florida tomorrow against Ole Miss. Also in the world of sports, Sunday morning. We talked about this with Rick Ballou earlier. It is the United States. It is Canada. It is hockey on the men's side for the gold medal. We saw the women for the U.S. and Canada have a terrific game yesterday. The United States won that in overtime to win the gold on the women's side. Boy, how awesome would it be for the United States of America in hockey, in a self-proclaimed Canadian sport, to take the gold from them on the women's side in the Olympics, which they've already done, and for the men to take it from them as well. I remember 2010, gold medal game, Canada, the United States, sudden death overtime, and Sidney Crosby. Yeah, that's Sidney Crosby, 16 years ago, with the goal that gave Canada the gold medal. Payback time on Sunday. I would love to see it. I will be up watching it again, 8 a.m. on the East Coast. And you say, well, why are they doing that? Well, keep in mind, obviously, the time difference in Italy. It'll be Sunday afternoon over there. But the closing ceremony of the Olympics is Sunday evening in Italy. That gold medal hockey game on the men's side, I believe, may literally be the last event of this Winter Olympics. They got to get it in. So, yeah, you'd love to see this game Sunday afternoon here on the East Coast. Not to be. You got to wake up a little early, a little Sunday morning hockey, 8 a.m. for the gold between the United States and Canada. Coming up next, we'll get into the NFL Scouting Combine. Again, Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network, about 15 minutes away. The Scouting Combine is next week. A lot of people from the NFL will be up there. You know who will not be up there? Liam Cohen and James Gladstone. And we'll talk about it next here on Hacker After Dark.
We love winning, and 1010XL wants you to win our contests. We also like to share the winning. That's why we ask you to wait 30 days to win again so others get a chance to have the winning feeling. Find complete contest details at 1010XL.com.
At Hollis Pools, building a pool is personal. We sit down with you, listen to your vision, and bring your backyard dreams to life right here in Northeast Florida. Working with us doesn't feel like working with a contractor. It feels like working with family. Every Hollis Pools project supports Project Savior Outdoors, helping bring hope to our veterans. Visit HollisPools.com. Hollis Pools, your vision, your pool, your escape. License number CPC 1461233.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Make more birdies with pointers from the pros on Brunch with the Tour with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation. Tuesday morning at 8:30 on 1010XL.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here, and I just want to once again give you this very simple reminder. Wear sunscreen. If you're outside a lot, bring the screen. Put some in your truck, on your boat, in your golf bag. Whatever, wherever, just use it, please. It's hot out there, and I just want you to protect yourself. I use it like it's cool because I think it is, but what's not cool, that's skin cancer. You don't want to deal with that. Go get yourself checked out. It could save your life. Go to beachesdermatology.com and schedule your appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Attention Northeast Florida golfers. Save hundreds on golf at premier local courses and support youth development. The First Tee of North Florida Tour Card is your key to big savings and making a difference. For just $99, you'll unlock discounted golf and offers at top courses and local businesses all year long. Plus, every Tour Card purchase helps fund programs that build character, confidence, and life skills for kids in our community. Grab your Tour Card today at tourcard.org.
Ace Carline here for Atlantic Infinity, and yes, I'm still loving my new QX60. Right now, you can lease one or lock in just 1.9% financing for 60 months, and every new Infinity comes with the Atlantic Infinity Promise. That's over $7,000 in added value. That's one of many reasons why I bought mine there. No pressure, no games, just a great experience. Make your next ride an Infinity from Atlantic Infinity. Visit AtlanticInfinity.com or the showroom near Atlantic and St. John's Bluff.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your National Builder of the Year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. Honda going off-road. They've got it all. 2-wheel, 4-wheel. What's happening, my man?
Man, they've got the Talon. They got the Talon R. They've got the Talon Live Valve. You're looking to do some farm work? They've got the Pioneer 700, Pioneer 1000. Legendary Honda reliability. Super fun. Dirt bikes, of course, always amazing. More podium finishes than any other company. Can't go wrong there.
And families love it when they go off-road with Honda. Check them out. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency. CyclesofJacksonville.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Next week up in Indianapolis, the Scouting Combine, over 300 prospects will be running 40-yard dashes and doing the 3-cone drill. You know, when they put that thing on television 10, 15 years ago, initially, I know a lot of people were like, what are they doing? I've loved it. I am a geek. I am a football nerd in every sense. I am the guy that beginning Thursday next week will be watching the 40-yard dash. I am the guy that will be watching the 3-cone drill and the shuttle and just soaking it all in from Thursday to Friday to Saturday to Sunday. Aaron, you're a big football guy, a big NFL guy. I mean, are you a combine guy every year?
I wouldn't say every year. So I mean, I check it out, but I'm not huge into it. And maybe I was like when I was in high school thinking that, oh, I'll be there one day. But since then, not so much now.
Yeah, I was 5'6" in high school, so that thought really never crossed my mind that I would be there. Maybe I'd be there as a spectator or a member of the media, but at standing 5'6", and at the time in high school about $185, I never had any thoughts that I would be competing in the NFL Scouting Combine one day. But having said that, I love it. I love everything about it. I think it's great. It gives you a little bit of a football fix heading into free agency. And normally what I like about it is in the past, you know, Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke or Gus Bradley or, you know, Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, you could hear from the general manager and the coach of the Jaguars and basically every other team and kind of get their thoughts on how the offseason's going and you know, free agency. They kind of hold court at these press conferences up in Indianapolis. And so the NFL sent out a sheet today about what podiums all these different general managers and these coaches will be at starting next Tuesday. And you see, you know, Dave Canales of Carolina, right? I'm looking at Nick Sirianni of Philadelphia. All these different coaches that'll be there to address the media. No Liam Cohen and no James Gladstone. And that's because Liam Cohen and James Gladstone are not going to the NFL Scouting Combine. Like the Rams, and Aaron, you're a Rams fan, Les Snead and Sean McVay never go to the Combine. James Gladstone and Liam Cohen obviously spent time in L.A. with both of those guys, and they have adopted that. They want to watch the film. They don't want to be swayed by what they see in a T-shirt and shorts in Indianapolis. They want to watch Saturday college football film of said players and not have their opinion swayed. Now, they'll bring in guys for visits, and there's going to be scouts for the Jaguars up there in Indy, and there'll be medical personnel from the Jaguars up there in Indy, but no Liam Cohen and no James Gladstone. And Aaron, I think that is a direct result of where those guys learned from your team, the Rams, with Sean McVay and Les Snead.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I can't speak for them, but I'm thinking, you know, how much are you going to learn from these guys doing these drills and stuff like that? You want to see them when they're on the field. What impact do they have on Saturday afternoon, and how do you think that can transfer over to Sunday afternoon for your ball club?
No, I agree, but don't mistake it, they're in the minority. An overwhelming amount of coaches and GMs are at the Combine. There are very, very few that don't go. The Rams and the Jaguars are now two of them. There may be another team or two, but I'm looking at this podium sheet for next Tuesday, And there's a lot of head coaches that are there, and there's a lot of general managers that are
with
there.
the success that the Rams have had over the past few years, I see maybe some other teams will adopt not going and just looking at game film.
It's fair. That's a good point. The Rams have been very, very successful. So we'll, I'm sure, hear from Liam Cohen and James Gladstone. I would imagine prior to free agency would be my guess. Certainly prior to the draft. I know they hold that pre-draft luncheon. I would imagine prior to free agency, because, again, we have not heard from James Gladstone. We saw Liam Cohen, but we have not heard from James Gladstone since 2 or 3 days after the season ended. And obviously there's a lot of questions about Devin Lloyd and ETN and things that are going to happen here in 2 weeks when NFL free agency does get underway. A guy that will be at the scouting combine is my buddy Mason Johnstone, who does a terrific job with the Draft Network. The Draft Network's going to have a ton of guys up in Indianapolis next week. Let's talk about the Jaguars, but let's also begin to focus on this 2026 draft class. Jacksonville with 4 picks in the top 100, 1 second-rounder and 3 third-rounders. Let's talk Jags. Let's talk draft. Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network next here on Hacker After Dark.
The Florida Gators and Jacksonville Jaguars living under the same radio roof. 1010XL, flagship station of the Gators and Jaguars.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you, on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides, and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Discover downtown Jacksonville's newest go-to spot. Pour Tap Room Jacksonville brings you 2 floors of over 80 self-pour craft beers, wines and cocktails, plus live sports, live music, and private event space. And right next door, Pizza Dynamo fires up made-to-order pizzas, slices and calzones, packed with bold flavor. Pair a pint with a fresh pie at Pizza Dynamo and Pour Tap Room, downtown at Laura and Forsyth.
Tom McManus buckles his chin strap as he joins Lauren Brooks and Taylor Dahl.
I just love a man in uniform.
Helmets and heels. Afternoons 2 to 4. Served by Queen Law Group on 1010XL.
Are high-interest credit cards and other loans sucking the life out of your finances? It's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity on your home and get the cash you need now so you can pay it all off. Hey, it's Prosser here. Corey and Jack called Loan Pronto in a matter of days. They had $160,000. They kept their 3% mortgage intact, didn't even need an appraisal, and with all that cash, they wiped out all their credit cards and 2 car loans, saving $2,000 a month. You can do it too. LoanPronto.com. Their rapid equity loan program can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. Chloe and Ethan just did it. Consolidated all their high-interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Imagine. Pay off all the credit cards, slash your monthly payments, breathe easier. Get your life back. Interest rates are at 3-year lows. Call Loan Pronto today, 904-999-1500. That's 904-999-1500, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If you're thinking about getting a new roof sometime this year, Endless Summer Roofing can help. I'm Claudia, owner of Endless Summer Roofing. Stronger materials, expert installation, real peace of mind. A new roof isn't just an upgrade. It's the primary source of protection for your family home. Visit EndlessSummerRoofing.com for a free inspection today, and I'll make sure you're ready for tomorrow. Endless Summer Roofing. Protecting your home from Florida's endless summers.
Bro, have you heard about the hottest and newest sports league in town?
Vanguard Sports League isn't just VIP, it's the standard. Smoke-filled tunnel intros, cool benches with canopies, big scoreboards, championship rings, and convenient locations all across Jacksonville. Oh, and mascot potties there hyping everyone up every game. No wonder it's the talk of the town. Spring and summer registration now open.
Search VanguardSportsLeague.com today.
Hicken here. Experience crystal clear vision with the Eye Associates, formerly Bow 9 Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet Betchkel, MD, Jacksonville's leader in advanced eye care. From routine eye exams to specialized vision care,
Their experienced team dedicated to improving and preserving your vision. The same care you've come to trust, now with a new name. To schedule your appointment today, call the Eye Associates, formerly Bowden Eye Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet A. Betchkel, MD, at 296-0098.
Spring is almost here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is your local certified arborist for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for residential or commercial properties. Protect your home, boost your curb appeal, and get top-notch service from a Jacksonville company. Make sure your trees are healthy and safe before summer hits. Schedule your tree inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
RJ Saunders here, sports fans, and whether it's get well roses or a be happy situation, I always call the experts at Kuhn Flowers. Sending a floral arrangement is just so easy. Log on to KuhnFlowers.com and leave it to them. Kuhn Flowers is the only name you'll ever need to know.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The NFL Scouting Combine next week up in Indianapolis. And then all eyes turn to free agency. And then you have the draft a little over 2 months away in April up in Pittsburgh as the NFL offseason is about to crank up into full gear. Let's talk about the Jaguars. Let's talk about this draft class. And let's do that with Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. He's certainly one of our guys when it comes to the NFL draft. And Mason's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mason, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Hacker. It's great to hear from you. I'm excited. It's my time of the year.
There's no doubt about that. We're going to get into the draft class. We mentioned the scouting combine next week as well. But for people that don't know, Mason is a Clemson guy. He played for Dabo Swinney up there at Clemson. So let me first ask you, your overall thoughts on Trevor Lawrence this past year. Obviously, he was a finalist for MVP, Mason. It looked like an incredible turnaround for Trevor's career.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think how exciting is it that there's some continuity carrying over into 2026? I mean, I think when you talk about Trevor Lawrence, and this is something I've known since, just watching him as a kid, and Trevor can heat up, and when he's hot, when he's confident, when he's going, he's up there with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. That's the level of quarterback play you can get from him. And you just talk about these last 6 games of the season, 1 interception, maybe 15 or 16 touchdowns, the 8-game winning streak to go into the playoffs. I just think, this is really in year 1 of the new regime. This really felt like a turning point for Trevor Lawrence, especially with just the organizational outlook, the arrows pointing up. You finally have some weapons for him. You finally have kind of pieced together an offensive line that's functional and works, and there's a ground game to complement. I'm very excited about Trevor Lawrence. I think you could see him ascend. Well, no, you will see him ascend into a top 5, a top 6 quarterback conversation, I think permanently. And the hope is that Jacksonville can be perennial contenders now with kind of the status they have at quarterback.
Mason, you look at some of the young guys on the Jaguar offense. Obviously, Jacoby Myers is not a young guy, but his acquisition was huge. But I'm talking specifically about a Parker Washington, who was a 6th-round pick out of Penn State a few years ago. Brenton Strange, a 2nd-round pick, also out of Penn State. My goodness, man, both of those guys are looking unbelievably good. Both are up for contract extensions this offseason. And if I'm the Jaguars, I would lock those guys up as quickly as I could.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was, the ascension of these guys is really interesting, and it's kind of telling of the LA Rams influence in the Jaguars organization, just being able to squeeze out production from talent. And I think both of these guys are ones that you almost kind of have to reevaluate as you go. Brenton Strange was on pace to be, one of the very top productive tight ends in football. And I really think that, you're talking about bringing in mean, I know that it might be a little more limited, but Travis Hunter back into the equation. There's a lot of really nice complementary pieces, and we talked about this, last year. Just this is kind of how this stuff gets built, is guys like Parker Washington and having a guy like Brenton Strange, where you have a good player, but top 10 production at tight end, that's kind of a different story. But really just exciting, right? I mean, because you can still add more pieces to these guys. You can still bring in someone, and the room isn't too crowded in my eyes.
Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. Mason, before we get to this year's draft class, one more thought on another Clemson guy, and that's Travis Etienne. Obviously, there's a big conversation here in Jacksonville. He's scheduled to become a free agent in less than 3 weeks. He also was unbelievably productive in Liam Cohen's offense last year. What is your thought on Etienne and his potential future here in the coming weeks?
I think it's tricky. You're kind of sitting at a deficit in your cap space. You've got some of the worst dead cap in the league. I think, where are you going to compensate? And does that mean that you get to retain Travis Etienne? I think there's this thought that a player like Travis is more of a luxury and not everyone can afford that. But I do think there's an outlook where, Travis probably ends up getting 14, 12 to 14 a year. I mean, maybe higher. But I think, in this offense, moving him kind of what the Dolphins did with Devon A-Chain, that with putting him out wide, getting him involved in the screen game more, getting him more looks out wide, and kind of just revaluing his stance as a player, just because I think the receiving ability and what he just brings with the ball in his hand is important. But you also have these other guys, Bashul Tutin and LaQuint Allen, who both can do similar things at running back. But I do think, it's tough. But I would try and prioritize keeping good, productive, flashy football. I mean, Travis can just hit and go. I think you have to keep those guys. Those are explosive playmakers, and that's a crucial part of the offense, especially with Trevor Lawrence there.
You mentioned Bashul Tutin. He was probably the star of the rookie class after Hunter went down. Tutin was 7 touchdowns, the 4th-round pick out of Virginia Tech. And let's get to this year's class, but also look back to last year's class, Mason. What's interesting about Jacksonville, they went 13-4 and got very little out of their top 3 picks. Hunter played 7 games before he got hurt. We never even saw Caleb Ransaw, the safety out of Tulane. He got hurt in the preseason. And then Wyatt Milam only played the last month and a half of the year and was sparingly used at best. So, yeah, Jacksonville doesn't have a first-round pick, and we'll get to the 11 picks they have this year. But you went 13-4, and you get Hunter, Ransaw, and Milam 100% healthy. I would think that would be a lot of optimism for those guys moving forward into 2026.
Oh, 100%. And I was impressed with the limited exposure Wyatt Milam got towards the end of the year. And I think there's a lot of encouragement from him specifically, because I wasn't completely sure how the move inside would work. And I know that there's maybe some center flexibility there. Jonah Monheim early in the season, looks like a maybe serviceable backup. But yeah, I mean, the idea, Travis Hunter going into next year, like, I remember just being so excited about that pick, and I still am now. I mean, you think about it, I don't know where the Jaguars would be picking this year, but you're essentially buying the other half of Travis Hunter with not having this draft pick this year. I think it's just a waiting game, but it'll kind of be a multiplier onto this coming 11 rookies that the Jaguars will probably draft as long as there's no trades. But you're going to have a big group of young, productive players into next year, which, as we've seen, this is how you build championship contending teams, is through the draft. And you did that without getting a ton of production from your top 3 picks last year, but now, it may be a different story.
Jalen McLeod's another guy we never saw in the regular season. He'll be 100% healthy coming in to 2026 as well. A couple of more for Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. That brings us to this year's draft. Scouting Combine next week in Indianapolis. The draft is April 23rd through the 25th in Pittsburgh. Mason, the Jaguars have 11 picks, as you mentioned. They don't have a first rounder, but what they do have is 5 picks in the top 120 and 4 picks on day number 2 in rounds 2 and 3. I would think not having a first rounder stings, but having 5 picks in the top 120 is certainly nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where you earn your keep as a personnel department and a scouting department in the NFL. I mean, is those having 5 picks in the top 120. I mean, those are the difference makers. Those are where they come from on all championship teams, and you've got an abundance there. So this is going to be this is like a crucial point. And I know it's still early, but just in seeing, what is the next 5 years going to look like? I think you can find that projection somewhere in how they select these picks that are all kind of jumbled up in the top 120.
Mason, when you look at the class as a whole, and again, I just dove into it really in the last couple of weeks. You've been looking at this class for months and months on end. Here's what I've been told, and tell me if this is accurate in your opinion. I've been told there's probably 13 to 15 guys with first-round grades. And then there's a lot of guys that, may be day 1 guys this year that would normally be day 2 guys next year, or day 2 guys this year that might be day 3 guys in other years. Is that the way you see it?
Yeah, I'd say my macro view of this class is that it's not a great class. I think there's certainly some phenomenal players. Whether it's a first-round graded player or not, I think you get a lot of just, right where the Jaguars are picking, I think you get a lot of value in those day 2 picks just with, I think this defensive end class kind of has a second wind that, you'll get guys, obviously the top guys, Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Arvell Reese, where you put them. But then there's kind of these, maybe there's second-round graded guys that get flung up into the first, or maybe they go where, people see them, but guys like Cassius Howell, Keldrick Falk, Zion Young, R. Mason Thomas, Derek Moore, TJ, these are all guys that could go 20 to 40. And there's a lot of value there, but I would say just generally, and this is always kind of the funny part about the draft, there's 32 first round picks. So, I like to try and even it up with my grades, but I would say generally a weaker class than most.
There's a thought for Jacksonville that it's going to be a very heavy defensive class. And we'll see what happens in free agency. Obviously, free agency is going to dictate a lot of what the Jaguars do and don't do come April's draft. But if we stay with that thought right now, how would you assess the defensive class as a whole this year?
I'd say it caters a little bit to the Jaguars. I mean, you're sitting there at 56, and you're going to get a choice of one of these, strong defensive stoppers in the run game, like Dom Orange or Christian Miller. I think, you're talking about a good linebacker class, a very good linebacker class, where if you're unable to re-sign Devin Lloyd, what does it look like to draft that guy at 56 or later on those third-round picks? And then, again, also the cornerback safety class, outstanding. I mean, a lot of people are talking about, double-digit guys in the top 100. And surely, when you're sitting at 56, you're kind of a dropper out of the first 50 picks. Who kind of slips through the cracks? Who, I think it's a best player available pick at 56, just because that's the nature of where you're selecting. But as far as, if you need to replace Greg Newsome, if you need a safety, if you need to improve your run defense, you're going to have your options. There's going to be guys there that fit. And so I think it's a very exciting place to be. I keep saying that, but it just is. What you're looking for is, strong valued defenders, which there are plenty of where Jacksonville's picking.
Mason, as we wrap up, let me ask you about 2 guys. This is a non-Jaguar question, but just a general thought from you. Florida defensive tackle Caleb Banks, by all indications, really had a great Senior Bowl and is going up boards. And then I also wanted to ask you about Jacksonville's own Carson Beck. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think Caleb Banks, just the size is so impressive. We got to see it on the Senior Bowl field in person. I mean, it's just to have those movement skills, that power, that size. That's what you want as a defensive tackles coach. Is like, give me the biggest, strongest, fastest guy. Like you want Caleb Banks, and I think there's some play-to-play consistency things. I think there's some improvements that need to be made. As a run defender, he plays a little high sometimes, but it's the same conversation. They're not the same player, but similar conversation to Deion Walker, I think, a couple of years ago, where Deion turned out to be had a great rookie season. And I think you just get a similar player where the traits are just outstanding, and you really can't deny that. Carson Beck is such an interesting one. This quarterback class is really tricky. After Fernando Mendoza, to me, it's a mix of Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeier, Carson's in there, and then Cole Payton out of North Dakota State, who I'm really high on. But Carson's got, he's a winner. First of all, he's a winner. I think there's some issues. There's some issues closing games that have just reoccurred through his career that are a little worrisome. But if you're getting the best version of Carson Beck and you're getting a guy that's bought in and that the team can rally around, you're getting a starting level quarterback. If you can minimize some of these unexplainable mistakes that happen through his game, and I know, he's been playing for a long time, you'd hope that those go away, but the development of quarterbacks is never linear, and Carson Beck is still very much in the conversation as, hey, can we bring this guy in and can he win us football games? And I think the answer to that is yes.
Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network. Mason, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about your coverage on the Draft Network and what you guys will have next week up in Indianapolis at the Combine.
Yeah, we'll be all over player interviews. We'll be there watching the testing in person, and hopefully, get to see a lot of great times. Certainly have a lot of Clemson guys there, so I'm excited to watch those guys. But other than that, we're just going to keep grinding away at this class and seeing where everything falls.
It is certainly your time of year. Mason, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out. Let's get together after the Combine. We'll see how things went there in Indianapolis. Always appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
If you're wondering if it's possible to find sports talk radio made for Jacksonville other than 1010XL, good luck. 1010XL. That is beautiful. Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at KeyBuickGMC.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 20th, 1960, Bill Russell became the first player to record 50 rebounds in a game when he had 51 versus the Syracuse Nationals.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Valentine's Day is sweet, but let's be honest, your septic tank wants attention too. Because when it gets ignored, it doesn't sulk, it causes problems, big ones. That's why DuckDuckRooter, the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, is rolling out the Show Your Septic Some Love promotion. Right now, get $50 off septic tank pumping when you book by February 28th. Give your septic a little love now so it doesn't make a big scene later. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, DuckDuckRooter.com.
The Purple Heart isn't just a name, it represents service, discipline, and earning trust. At Purple Heart Pools, that standard shows up most in pool renovations. If your pool is outdated or worn down, now's the time to upgrade. So when summer arrives, your pool is ready. From new finishes and tile to decking, lighting, and full transformations, every upgrade is handled with precision and attention to detail. Purple Heart Pools. Pool renovations done right.
Could you imagine? There was a time you could just tell your kids to shut up, right to their face. No explanations, just shut up. How much easier would that have been? Why is the sun hot? I don't know. Why don't you shut up? Well, that was uncalled for.
Tom Papa Live in the Grateful Bread Tour. Saturday, February 21st, on stage at Florida Theater. Tickets are on sale now at floridatheater.com.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow. Mirrors cut exactly to your style. Fogged or broken glass replaced. Decorative tabletops. Windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Couple of house cleaning items for myself here on Hacker After Dark. We are off on Monday. We'll not be with you on Monday, but Tuesday through Friday, I'll be having a little double duty here on 1010XL. Looking forward to sitting in with Hayes Carline on the Frangie Show from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock, and then I'll be with you on Hacker After Dark Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, again, we will not be on Monday, but Frangie Show with Carline and myself Tuesday through Friday, and also Hacker After Dark Tuesday through Friday here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Little NBA talk to close out the week on a Friday. Well, how about the Orlando Magic last night? Hit 27 three-point shots. Franchise record, just demolished the Sacramento Kings. Still a pretty big disappointment where they are, 29-25 on the year. But maybe that's the start of something last night in Sacramento. Let's head down to Central Florida. Jason Beatty is the Magic beat writer for the Orlando Sentinel. And let's talk Orlando Magic, Banchero, Wagner, Suggs, and how they stack up in the Eastern Conference. On a Friday night here in Northeast Florida, we're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Your home for Florida Gators basketball is 1010XL.
As the march towards madness continues, the Gators take a trip to the Delta for a noon tip in the Mississippi Swamp. Florida Ole Miss, tomorrow on 1010XL.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller. I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses.
Whoa.
Bueller Aaron Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Spring is almost here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is your local certified arborist for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for residential or commercial properties. Protect your home, boost your curb appeal, and get top-notch service from a Jacksonville company. Make sure your trees are healthy and safe before summer hits. Schedule your tree inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at Jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you feel embarrassed, trapped, maybe even ashamed just because you own a timeshare? Well, I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Chuck McDowell here, the timeshare cancellation guy. I get over 3,000 complaints a week from all kinds of folks that feel the same way you do. Honest people, teachers, veterans, grandparents, all losing sleep over a timeshare they can't get rid of. That's why 15 years ago, I founded Wesley Financial Group to help people take their lives back. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we would want our own family to be treated. That mindset has helped us cancel over 50,000 timeshares from people just like you. So if you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-979-1771. 800-979-1771. 800-979-1771.
Hi, I'm Hannah Oberholzer with Thrive Scholars, and thanks to the players, we're helping high-achieving, under-resourced students reach top colleges and achieve their full career potential. 18 days until the players.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $5,000 per ounce, and silver is over $100 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold and silver for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
What racehorse won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths? The answer next.
When your homeowner's insurance policy is up for renewal, it's a good idea to shop around to find a better plan. Southern Oak Insurance for over 20 years provides Floridians a clear option. SouthernOak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Secretariat won the Triple Crown in '73, including winning the Belmont by 31 lengths.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Help your loved one fall back in love with his or her home with a home improvement from the professionals at the Lifetime family.
That's right, Nick. Happy Valentine's Day to all the lovebirds out there. What says I love you more than adding additional space with a glass or screen enclosure that will enhance your home's livability, or brand new floors that dramatically improve the look and feel of your home?
That's right. New outdoor living space from Lifetime Enclosures and beautiful floors from Lifetime Flooring.
Come experience the Lifetime difference. Call or visit one of our showrooms today for our Valentine's Day specials throughout February.
'Lifetime Enclosures.
Thomas Craig from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph is a known name when it comes to beautiful rides on the road. What is the latest from Triumph?
Well, if you didn't come, we had an unleashing at the dealership last week. We saw 6 new models from Triumph, anything from 400 cc's to 1200 cc's. If you're looking at a bike, you got to look at the new Triumphs.
Experienced riders will love it.
And the inexperienced will love it. We've got something for everybody in the Triumph lineup. Great motorcycles.
Showroom waiting for you. Triumph. Find them at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Since 1927, Jacksonville has trusted Coil Fencing to protect what matters. And I trust them too. From tough chain link to your commercial project to sleek aluminum fencing your HOA will love, Coil does it all. Did you know that Coil can also install, service, and maintain those automatic gates that help protect your neighborhood or business? To schedule a complimentary consultation, visit CoilJacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com. Coil Fencing, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
And that concludes the Joe C. Jack of All Trades show. Tune in next week where I'll be installing my own French drain.
Joe, wake up, man.
Hey, John, I must have dozed off.
We finished those projects you started.
Whoa, my seamless gutters are actually seamless.
And they're connected into underground PVC drain lines.
And my sprinklers. Wow, look at that coverage.
Next time, just call me first, Joe.
I will, but I ain't singing that song.
Clearwater Irrigation
and Drainage too.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The second half of the NBA season is underway, and for the Orlando Magic, it was a first half that you'd probably like to forget. A lot of expectations coming into the year. They find themselves only 3 games above 500. They would actually be in the play-in of the Eastern Conference playoffs. And they found out yesterday that Franz Wagner and that ankle is going to cost him at least another 3 weeks. Just the heartburn, the indigestion as a Magic fan continues. Let's head to Central Florida. Jason Beatty covers the Orlando Magic terrifically for the Orlando Sentinel, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I had a decent all-star break, and I'm ready to get down to this final stretch of the regular season and see how this team does. You know, that was quite a bit of shocking news to deal with the other day, but certainly it'll be interesting to see how this team moves forward.
Jason, I blame my uncle, and I did this earlier because he dragged me to a game in 1989. And from that moment forward, I just became an Orlando Magic fan. And for the last 37 years, seemingly everything that can go wrong does go wrong. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? Banchero, Suggs, and Wagner, the triple threat. You add Desmond Bane this year. They cannot stay on the court together. The injuries are mind-boggling. And at some point, you just got to throw up your hands and say, is this a sign from above?
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, you talk about the trio, you know, without Bane, Jalen, Paolo, and Franz. They've only played in 14% of available regular season games going back to the beginning of last season. No team is going to have success without its 3 best players on the court in only 14%. I mean, we're not even talking a quarter of the games available in the regular season the past 2 years for those 3 together. So that's going to be really difficult. And that's why you've seen last year they were in the play-in. This year, right now, they're currently in the play-in. And it's going to be really hard for them. Even if Franz were healthy, it was going to be a challenge for them to climb in the East. Because, look, Philadelphia is doing really well. Toronto is doing well. There are teams in front of them that are also talented at this point in the season, and they want to make their own playoff push. Teams behind them, the Miami Heat, the Charlotte Hornets have been one of the hottest teams in the East. It's not, nothing is handed to you in this conference or in this league, and now you lose one of your best two-way players in Franz that gets it done every night on both ends when he's available. And it's just unfortunate for him because he's tried to come back twice now and he's out again. And that's the frustrating part. I think it's just these weird injuries that keep these guys off the court for extended periods of time, and it's just hard to find any sort of flow, rhythm, or define roles for a group that clearly has the talent but just can't stay together.
Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel. All right, with Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs in particular, and you could darn near lump Paolo into this, although I'll exclude him for a moment. With Wagner and Suggs, are we at the point, Jason, where these guys are just injury prone? I mean, that's who they are at this point.
I think it's fair to say that about Jalen Suggs, unfortunately. That was one of the big topic of discussions with Jalen at the end of last season at exit interviews. And he made it very clear he wasn't going to change anything about the way he played. His style of basketball sometimes looks like he's playing football on the court. And that's what makes Jalen special. It's that physical, just right in your face, hard-nosed, scratchy, scrappy style play that makes him an all-defensive guard, that makes him such an X factor for this team when he's on the court. He's one of the team's most important players. With Franz, I wouldn't go that far. I think, yes, he's had 2 major injuries now that have kept him off the court for an extended period of time. Last year's injury was very fluky, even though it was the exact same as Paolo Banchero. You talk about that abdominal tear that they both went through last season. That was so weird. A month apart or so, they suffer the same injury on the same side. That was just really strange. And this year, look, Anthony Black threw a weird lob to Franz Wagner in New York on December 7th, and it was just a weird pass, and it came down and landed awkwardly. And that's not necessarily an injury-prone type of play. That's just a freak play. And I think, you could talk about how, Franz is still young. All these guys are still young, but he's been in the league now. This is his 4th or 5th season, and the reality is, when you get older and you have more injuries pile up, maybe you do become more injury prone. But I don't think that would be fair to say about Franz, just given the freak nature of these injuries. And then you go back to his 1st, 2nd, and 3rd year and how healthy he was before dealing with these injuries. With Jalen, it's a little bit of a different story because I think the way he plays contributes sometimes to those injuries, even though on occasion stuff just happens. I mean, sports injuries happen all the time. It's just more often than not for this Magic team, unfortunately for them.
Jason, Franz played 4 games, right? Now he's got ankle soreness and going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks. Why was he on the floor? Did playing those games cost them in the long run?
It's really hard to say. That's something I've been wondering myself. Had Franz not played in Europe, those 2 games, one in Berlin, in his hometown, in his home country of Germany, and then 3 days later in London, he comes back from those games and he has soreness. He misses the next 9. He told me and another reporter in Miami that maybe he probably shouldn't have played in those Europe games. So he misses 9 games and comes back for 2 more before the break on a strict minutes restriction. And the idea is he's able to get some run in before the break and then have a week off before playing again. And clearly, after playing those 2 games, even though in the moment he said he felt good, the soreness came back. And I think it's just the collaborative effort of when Franz feels good and the medical team says he looks good and they're doing all the right things, or at least they think they're doing all the right things, it's hard to keep a player off the court. And even though the Magic have been known, to lean on the side of safety and precaution and take their time, it's this weird situation where they've messed up twice now, and I don't know who exactly is responsible. I just think it's a group effort, and it's a really tough situation because it's a high ankle sprain. It's something he's dealing with for the first time in his career, and he's learning that this is a soreness that he's going to have to deal with for some time, and it's difficult when time is one of the few cures for something like this. But I just think at this point, he's out indefinitely. He's going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks, and from there, who knows how he's going to feel.
Couple of more for Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel, talking Orlando Magic and the National Basketball Association. Now to Paolo. Look, he's had some good games. He's had some bad games. And then he's had some shots at the end of games that make you shake your head in a positive way, like the winner in Brooklyn. And he's had some shots at the end of games that make you shake your head in a negative way. Has Paolo not taken the step that maybe Magic fans would have hoped he'd taken this year?
I think that's a good way of putting it. I think a lot of fans on social media around the league that don't watch this team nightly, might be surprised to see, some of his numbers and whatnot. I think if you're a Magic fan, you're watching this team, I think it is fair to say that he hasn't met expectations in a season where this entire team hasn't met expectations. And now with Franz out for at least 3 weeks, that's before he even gets reevaluated. He could be out, if they come back in 3 weeks and say he needs 2 more weeks, you're looking at the end of the season there. So this next stretch here, what this team does, where they end up in the postseason, whether they're able to rise out of the play-in, which is still possible. They're only 1.5 games back of number 6 Philadelphia for that outright playoff spot. Will be up to Paolo. And I understand Jalen Suggs is important and Desmond Bain is huge. They didn't have him last year when they kind of dealt with these sorts of injuries. And Anthony Black has made a jump. And I think Wendell Carter you could also put in somewhat of a disappointing stretch recently. But this is going to come down to Paolo Banchero because he's the number 1 pick. He's the all-star. He's the max contract player that you still have in this case. So as disappointing as he's been at certain stretches of the season, there have been moments where we've seen him, played up to his ability, and he just needs to find that consistently. I think the All-Star break would be good for him. We've seen the All-Star break be good for Jamal Mosley coach squad in the past. This team has been known to make pushes in the back end of the season. Now, I think they'd like to avoid that moving forward and just come out of the gates stronger, but this is where they are again for a 3rd year in a row, and it's up to them and up to Paolo to find it and figure it out.
They're not getting any better in the standings year after year. I mean, that's the reality. You can blame it on injuries. You can blame it on a lot. But at a certain point, Magic fans are going to lose their patience, and so will the front office. I mean, between Weltman and Mosley, how much trouble are those guys in?
Yeah, I think, Jeff Weltman made it clear after the trade deadline that at least in that moment, he said that the organization is committed and back to Jamal for the rest of the season. What that looks like after the season certainly is the bigger question. The next question, I should say. Jeff himself is up for a contract extension after the season. It's going to be a crucial 29 games for not just these players, but I think this front office, this head coach, and we've seen it time and time again where teams aren't able to get over the hump and they make a coaching change. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen here, but certainly another first-round exit would be quite a disappointment for this team, even with the injuries. So everyone is under the microscope, and this is a collaborative effort, and that's something that Jeff talked about. I mean, they understand that fans are angry, and they're upset just as much. So it's an important stretch for the job security of Jamal Mosley, no doubt.
As we begin to wrap up, Jason, you mentioned Anthony Black earlier, and for people that don't watch the Magic games every night like I do, you talk about Suggs and Wagner and Paolo as the big 3, and I'm not ready to put Anthony Black in that conversation, but I will tell you this. I'm not sure if there's a player in the NBA that is better, just from the eye test, from last year to this year than Anthony Black. Amidst a really disappointing season, boy, Anthony Black has looked like a stud.
Yeah, he certainly is making the case for most improved player. I think if the team were healthy and he were coming off the bench, he'd be making the case for 6th man of the year. But that's why you have the award in most improved player, because it really is, before his first year and his second year in the league, we saw spurts and games and individuals moments where, you could see the potential. And maybe it's because of the opportunity he's gotten now starting in place of Franz Wagner and playing more minutes. He's scoring, he scored 20-plus points. I don't have the exact number, but it's more this season, the first 2 seasons combined of his NBA career. So the scoring is off the charts. He has this knack where it seems like he's driving for a layup, and somehow he just climbs the invisible stairs to jump and dunk it down. He really is taking such a leap. And you think back to his rookie year where kind of all he did was just ask to stand in the corner and wait for the occasional 3. He has taken over at times for this team where you think, wait, that's what Paolo Banchero should be doing. But that's Anthony Black. He is confident. He's not afraid of the moment. And he's shown that he is one of the most improved players in this league.
Final question. Jason Beatty, Orlando Sentinel. You cover this team as closely as anybody. Are they going to respond to this adversity? Do you think this is a team that'll step up? And, regardless of what they do in the postseason, is this a team that's going to fight for the next 29 games?
I think so. I don't see this team as a group of quitters. I don't see this team as woe is me. They know that nobody's going to feel bad for them because nobody's felt bad for them so far. They know that at the same time, teams aren't going to hand them wins and teams aren't going to try, although the Sacramento Kings might make a different stance in their tanking efforts. But certainly moving forward on this West Coast trip and the final 29 games, this team does not quit. It really doesn't. And they have plenty of talent, even without Franz Wagner. You talk about Paolo, Jalen, Desmond, Wendell, and Anthony Black. It's a talented group. And then, look, when Franz, if he ever does come back, whenever he comes back, that's going to be a boost. But certainly this team knows the talent it has. And I don't think they're going to just turn over and give up on the season. So they want to make it the playoffs themselves, too. And they understand that everyone's frustrated, including them. So I really don't think this team is just going to give up.
Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel. Jason, I know you're busy, man. Thank you as always for the time, and we'll do it again soon, pal.
No worries. Thank you.
And thank you to Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to look at the second half of the year for the Orlando Magic, which actually got off to a really good start last night. In fact, they set their franchise record making 27 three-point field goals in an absolute annihilation of the Sacramento Kings out in Sacramento. The Magic are still out west for 3 games. Phoenix, the Clippers, and the Lakers. They sit 29-25 on the year, and they are a half game out of the number 6 spot, which they need to get to 6 or higher, because that would mean they don't have to go through the play-in route to get into the NBA playoffs. Still a very disappointing season to this point. Obviously, all the injuries have just been ridiculous, but at least last night they played arguably their best game of the year, and we'll see if they can start building on that momentum as they move and continue to move forward here with the NBA regular season. So we certainly spent some time on that, spent some time on the Florida Gators as they hit the road tomorrow for a high noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central tip-off against Ole Miss out in Oxford. Ole Miss is not very good, but Florida still has to go on the road and play at 11 a.m. local time, Saturday morning, basically. So it's just a weird time for that game tomorrow. We'll see if that has any impact on Florida, who is 20-6 overall, of course 11-2, and in first place by themselves right now in the Southeastern Conference. And then obviously spent some time on the Jacksonville Jaguars, the scouting combine next week up in Indianapolis. We are just outside of 2 weeks away from NFL free agency. And then, of course, the NFL draft just over 2 months away up in Pittsburgh, April 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Friday evening here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. And we have a ton of people to thank. Again, thank you to Jason Beatty of the Orlando Sentinel for joining us tonight. Thank you to Mason Johnstone of the Draft Network as we previewed the NFL Scouting Combine next week. Always appreciate Mason taking time out for us here in Jacksonville. And then back in hour number 1, my buddy JP Shadrick, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. He will be up in Indianapolis next week for the Scouting Combine. So we appreciate JP spending time with us here on a Friday evening on Hacker After Dark. Now, next week is a little different. I am off on Monday, so will not be with you on Monday. But next Tuesday through Friday, I'll be doing double duty. You'll get me every night here on Hacker After Dark from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I will also be sitting in on the Frangie Show with Hayes Carline from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock. So I'm off on Monday, but Tuesday through Friday, I'll be on with Carline from 4 to 6 on the Frangie Show, and then I'll be right back here with you 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock for Hacker After Dark. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending not only your Friday evening, but your entire week with us here on Hacker After Dark. As we always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you enough how much we absolutely appreciate it. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Friday evening and a fantastic weekend. And I will talk to you again next Tuesday right here on 1010XL and on 92.5